This is supposed to be our years of like, you know what? I'm gonna do me, and I love you guys, but I gotta put me first.
And I felt that. I did. I used to hear that when I was younger, like, oh, when you turn 50, it's going to be a change. And when I turned 50, I did feel the change. I'm starting to say no a lot more. I
That
remember,
light switches, huh?
yes, I said no. And someone said, oh, you're mean. It's not that I'm mean. It's just now I'm putting myself first and not at
Yeah,
the expense of myself. Like, yeah, I'm take care of me. What
take
does
care
that
of
look
you.
like? That's
Right.
different.
Yeah, that's true. What does that look like? Because taking care of you could be different. Every woman has their own way of taking care of themselves. Sometimes just taking care of yourself means I'm going to say no. I love
Yes,
you, but I'm going to say no. I'm
that's
going to stay
right.
in tonight because I don't feel like going over there to help so and so. I'm going to say
Right.
no. And that's what people have to, especially our family who has been used to us saying yes and okay and
Yeah.
sacrificing and pulling ourselves out of the bed even when we're sick. We're saying
Mhm.
no. And they have to get used to that.
Yes.
They have to get used to that.
Only a change.
Right, right. And it's gonna take some time because they're, like I said, they're used to mama or
Yeah.
wifey or whatever saying yes, and they're like, oh my mom told me no. Yes, get used to it.
Right. Right. Here I am now.
Yeah. So the cultural expectations, you said this, being that strong Black woman,
Mhm.
do you think that makes it harder for us to prioritize our health and our
It really
peace?
does. It does. It does. Because if we don't let that go, I noticed for those of us that grew up under that, oh, you gotta be a strong Black woman, we're the last to get help. I remember helping one of my strong friends and her saying, I've always been on top. I've always been able to help my family. And now that I need it, they're telling me you're gonna make it. She's like, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it.
Right,
So the strong person is the last to get help because we're
right.
seen as they always figure it out.
They
They
always figure.
always land on their feet. And
Right.
that may have been true, but you get to a point where listen, I may not land on my feet this time and I need help.
Yeah.
So
Do you find it hard to ask for help, you
I
personally?
do,
Yeah. And
I
I've heard
do.
that from so many women, and even my co-host who comes on sometimes, she struggles to ask for help. And one of the examples is she had to move, and she actually used to live in Rockland, and she had to move, and it was hard for her to ask her children, who are grown adult children, to help her move. So I would drive down there and help her and stuff like that. But it was hard, and she said it is hard, and she sacrificed her health and well-being because
Yes,
she didn't reach out and ask for help. And I understand it is hard, especially if you've asked for help and people are like, well, do you really? No, I mean, they might not physically say it, but their actions say, well, do you really need it?
exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so yeah, I can understand that that part of us saying, I can do it, I can do it. I do it with my
Yeah.
husband. I do my husband, I got it, and he knows by now, because we've been married 29 years, he knows that, hey, stop, you don't got it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that helps too sometimes for me to step back and say, you know what, I don't have to do this by myself. It's okay
So
to ask him for help or ask my kids for help.
it's
So, and
good.
sometimes you'll get a no and you have to just go, okay, well, note taken. Next time when you ask, I mean, and you hate to go tit for tat, but you're like,
Yes.
okay, so the next time you ask for help, remember this,
Right.
you
Right.
know? But
Right.
yeah.
I think that's what makes it hard to ask for help because you don't want to be disappointed. So it's
Yeah.
like I'd rather not even ask you. I'll figure it out. And I think that hurts us in the end. It really
That
does.
hurts. Yeah.
Really
And
does.
and also I think the more if we get to a point where we say, you know what, I'm going to keep asking, at some point they will say, oh, maybe she really does need help.
Yes.
I would hope,
Yeah.
that would somewhere click in their mind, like, okay,
Yeah.
mom really needs help.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, what advice would you give to Black women who feel obligated to remain in unhealthy situations out of guilt or cultural norms.
I would say, and I'm still learning to deal with this myself, just putting yourself first.
Mhm.
And one day at a time, start with small steps, with
Yeah.
saying no.
Yeah.
And no is a complete sentence.
I always
Uh,
like that one. No is a
Yes.
complete sentence. Yeah.
Yes, that was a hard one for me. When I did say no, it was because no, you don't have to offer a reason. It's just no.
Just no.
And
Right.
taking care of you and knowing that if you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to do anything for anyone else anyway.
Right. Right.
Change perspective.
And we have to recognize that our s- our s- our health and well-being is not selfish. And that's we
Ooh,
look at that. It's not selfish.
yeah, that's a tough one.
That is.
We
That
feel like it, like, oh, I'm
we
being selfish.
Right. I think we were taught that. I
Mm,
think we were taught that. And I don't think it was, out of,
attention.
m- I don't think it was intentional. I don't think it was out of, any bad will. I think that we were just taught that, especially when you start having children and if, bug in my face, or, you have a family you have to take care of, a husband you have to take care of, that you have to put yourself last on that totem pole.
Right,
You are the foundation, so you got to remain strong and and be there for everybody else. But it comes to, well, when am I going to be there for me?
right.
So we have to realize that it's not being selfish
Yeah,
to put yourself first. And everybody else needs to also recognize that because they've been putting themselves first,
right.
all this time. So, you have to honor that.